contribution just to finish off the points we've been making on Part 2. My comments are in relation to Clause 38 of the bill in Part 2, the amendments that we're making tonight to the Railways Act 2005, and in fact the next part we're moving on to is concerns matters about rail as well, which we're very keen to explore in the Committee of the Whole this evening. It's actually an example, sir, where common sense has really prevailed with respect to the definition of those who are captured by the provision of this clause. The bill, as it was originally introduced to the House by the Minister, required that all licensed access providers had to publish criteria for access to their corridors on a publicly available website. And if you go to clause 38 of the bill, it sets out there how it was originally worded: every licensed access provider and every railway premises owner must, and then on it goes in new 1A there. But that has since been altered by the Select Committee and agreed to, or the recommendation of the Select Committee picked up by the government in quite a helpful way, so that the Minister will declare by notice in the Gazette which of those network railway premises owners or licensed access providers are required to be the ones who publish their criteria for access on a publicly available website. That's pretty important, sir. As the Select Committee report notes, there are 80 such rail providers, and they do range in size from very small voluntary organisations that we all have in our community, right through to some of those industrial rail operators, and then of course to Kiwi Rail itself, or New Zealand Railways Corporation, as it's known from a legislative point of view. And in fact, probably what surprises me most about that is that there are only 80. In New Zealand, there are a lot of rail enthusiasts who take on their great love of trains and of rail and try and provide in their own community some form of service or tourist attraction, or even fun rides for children, either on a regular weekend basis or for fairs or fetes or galas. Or so on and so forth like that. So I'm surprised. The member says fete, but at St Joseph's Primary School in Levin, our gala was called a fete. And that's a very good thing to know. It's a very, very cosmopolitan primary school at St Joseph's in Levin. We had our own fete, very, very European, and that was before that was popular. This is before the fall of the Berlin Wall. We were really quite avant-garde at St Joseph's School in that respect. But they certainly do. We've limited that right down so that it's only going to be the big players who will be required to do that. I think that is important. I had an opportunity during the parliamentary recess to visit Kawakawa with my colleague Kelvin Davis, the Labour spokesperson for tourism, who took me to see the Kawakawa. Paul Quinn should be the last member of Parliament to talk about looking for new electorates. That man would be defeated in any seat he stood in. They could put him up in a blue ribbon seat. He'd lose Taranaki King Country. There'd be a socialist flag in the Taranaki King Country if Paul Quinn was the National Party candidate there. There's a reason there's a big whip around amongst National MPs and Labour MPs to ensure that he stands against Trevor Mallard and Hutt South, because at least there's a bit of a laugh involved in that. But Paul Quinn there are so many times where that man should resist the temptation to speak out loud, and probably in that sense all I'm doing is echoing generations of school teachers who wrote that in his school reports. I suspect he was a bit too busy with the candy floss at the fete in that respect. But sir, in Kawakawa, Kelvin Davis took me to see the vintage railway people there who are trying to develop a jigger service to go through the town. They're having some difficulties getting that through past Kiwi Rail and past the New Zealand Transport Agency. But it was a reminder to me that there are many local groups who access parts of the rail network that are still operational, or still able to be used, I should say, but no longer have either commercial passenger or freight services running on them. And it would be preposterous for the Kawakawa Vintage Railway Association to have to publish on a publicly available website the criteria for accessing their piece of rail. So I support that provision in the bill. I think that's a good idea, and I'm sure Bill English was responsible for that.